Hey babes, and welcome back to the pajama party. Pajama party. I said pajama party. Pajama party. Hey, pajama party. Oh, pajama party. What? Pajama party. Swear pajama party. Pajama party. Hey, pajama party. Hey, okay. All right. A lot of hype. I just had a slice of peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I am so sorry in advance for where my mood is about to take me. But hello, gang, and welcome back to the place to be, the pajama party. I hope you guys have had another great week. I hope that your weekend was great, that you got to do it and spend time having fun in whatever way you want it. You know, for me, it's always like Saturdays, I just want to rest. I just want to sleep and catch up on the sleep for the week, recharge myself, and then I'm good. But as always, we are going to start this off with the prayer. So I ask that you would please bow your heads, close your eyes, and listen. And if you can't close your eyes, then just still listen anyway. But, oh, Jesus, Lord, thank you for another opportunity to do this. It has started off rough already today, Lord, but you do things in mysterious ways, and I have to say it out loud, but I trust you. I trust your process. We are going to get through this. We are going to be fine. So, Lord, I ask that as I give your word to your people, that you will fall fresh on me, Lord, that you would anoint me from the top of my head to the soles of my feet, and that you would speak through me, Father, and whatever it is that you want to tell your children, Lord, I ask that you would shape my mouth to deliver your message, Father, without any fear, without any self consciousness, Lord, just with boldness and courage. And Father, I just ask that you would bless those who are listening in, bless their lives, Lord, bless their family, bless everything about them, Lord. If they are dealing with anything, Father, I ask that you would just fight their battles, Lord, and bring them out victorious. And so, Father, I love you, and I ask that you would forgive me for any sins that I may have committed today, Lord, knowingly or unknowingly. And all these things I thought to ask for, but didn't, I actually ran in your grace. In Jesus' name I do ask and pray. Thank God. Amen. All right, gang. So first of all, I gotta do something because it's gonna bother me if I do not. So hang on, guys. Okay. So I have been trying to work really hard on bettering myself. I think I say that a lot on this podcast, but I really do want to work on being a better person because it feels like I spent so much of my life the wrong way, putting the wrong importance on things that don't matter or just living in a way that really doesn't matter, like because I didn't have to live that way. Like I never had any points to prove. I never had to convince people to like me or to vibe with me. It shouldn't have taken me so long to realize like things that were, say, triggered into my mind that traumatized me. There we go. And so I've been trying to work on just, being happier and finding myself in my life and what I want out of this life. That's what I said. So, I'm gonna get back to that point too. But today we're gonna talk about cover up. Now, I did a little sketch drawing on this last week on TikTok on my Wednesday Wellness. Um, and I don't know when you will watch this, but if you watch this like a year later, months later, if you go on my TikTok, like all of my Wednesday Wellnesses are stamped like that. So like all my Friday face paint is that, all my Wednesday Wellness is that, when I do other things, they are labeled. But anywho's, there was this drawing I did. Hopefully I still have a picture of it. And it was basically called Cover Up. And Yeah, it's just been real rough. Last week was real rough because I was dealing with some emotional things that kind of slapped me in the face really hard, and some stuff kind of hurt my feelings. And I don't think that God was trying to reveal it to me in a way that would hurt my feelings, but I think it was just the truth of it, and like how sad it made me to realize those things. It just kind of made me a baby. So, we're gonna start with, I must just start reading, and then as always, I'll stop and explain. Okay. So, here lately, I have started to realize that I think of this podcast as more than just a podcast. It is my diary. Okay, so I really want to get in the habit. Like, I wrote notes, but I want to not just read it. Like, I want to refer back to it, but like I want to really say what I feel. I don't know, y'all, work with me. It's a thing. So when I first started this podcast series, I will be honest with you, I did not know what to expect. I did not really know where to go with this or how to start it out. I felt really unqualified. And even though it's been like, what, 5 or 4 months of me doing this, I still feel the same. There are days where I feel like I don't understand why I think that people would listen to me or should listen to me because of my past and everything that I've done, but that is my past. It is not a reflection of who I am now and how hard I've worked to change myself. Like, we all have things that we have struggled with and that we've done, and nobody can use that against you because that's what life is about: growing, maturing, moving on. And some lessons can be avoided, but you don't know that in that moment. Like, we all have our different perspectives of how things should go. And so it does not matter when other people try to bring up your past, because that's not who you are today. Even if it was something that happened yesterday. Okay, well, we're never going to see yesterday again. And if I told you I'm changing today to better myself, then you just need to believe me and not kick me down or tell me that I can't. So, this podcast has kind of felt like a personal diary for me. A lot of things that I've shared, even on a Pox perspective, I don't think I ever, if you would have told me a few months ago or even a few years ago that I would be this open and vulnerable, I don't think that I would believe myself for a second. If you would have told me that I really would have started chasing these big dreams like this, I don't know that I would have always believed it. If I would have known what hardships have awaited me now, I really wouldn't have done this. The more I think about it, or even like the more I face challenges, I'm like, dang God, if I would have known like what this really entailed, I would have just asked you for a regular 9 to 5. Like, when you gave me those dreams and visions, I would have been like, that's nice, but in another life, But I believed and I pushed on, and I really trusted God when He told me that He would give me things, and this was something that completely came out of the blue for me. I had never ever said that I wanted to do, I mean, I knew last year that I wanted podcasts, but it was really like a Pox perspective. I knew I wanted something like that. I never thought that like the real Bible stories would be a thing, because I just never thought that God would want to use me in this way or tell me to be used in this way. It is weird. And so now that I have started this and I have an opportunity to heal and talk about a lot of things, I do feel like this is my personal diary. And on one hand, it is very scary because, oh, and I'm sorry if I start crying, y'all. Y'all know, like, I'm a crybaby. I try to not be this emotional, but I bear my heart in the hopes of, helping someone. And it is very scary when you think about it, because, like, the world is watching you, like, you are letting people in to see you, to judge you. But I've always wanted to see a person like me in general to just say, like, you are okay. You like, there's nothing wrong with you. You can like what you like. Like, it is okay that you're a black girl. Like, nothing's wrong with your skin. Like, there's nothing wrong with your hair, with your ideas, or with the way you talk, and to just reassure me that it was okay, and that you don't have to really. I feel like sometimes society is moving in a way that's fake. Everybody just kind of wants to come up. Everybody kind of just wants to show off and flex. But I feel like more than ever, people are hurting. There's so many fights about nothing going on. And if people would just listen to each other, I don't think it would be that bad at all. And I just wish that people were nicer to each other, because we put so many importances and emphasis on things that don't even matter half the time, and so doing this podcast, I say all that to say, doing this podcast has become very personal for me. And I know I always say, like, I feel like God told me to do it because on one hand I do, and even my mom was telling me yesterday, our pastor, or one of our pastors, was talking about the Holy Spirit and how He leads you into things that you don't necessarily know about because you wouldn't have went. And that is how I feel about everything happening in my life right now. Like, when God told me something big was coming on the opposite side of Korea, I thought, I thought that big meant like big, like extravagant, like everything's gonna fall into place now. And it has, but not the big beauty that I was expecting. It was a big kaboom, like how they say the world beginning. That's how I felt like everything has transpired for me. But that is okay, because in the midst of all of that chaos, I have realized I've become a better person, and I'm so much happier, and I've realized like I'm a lot stronger than even I give myself credit for. And so it has been all good things. But yeah, I also do this podcast though because I love God. And the more that I truly know Him and walk with Him and get to understand Him, I feel my love for Him grow more and more. And if I could help reshape somebody's image of Him for the better, then I'm all here for it, because to know God, that is such a gift. It is such an experience. Like, I've heard it said before, you don't really live a life until you know God. And that's true because He can show you things that nobody else can. He can do for you things that nobody else can. And I'm going to preview it here because I'll be done posted it already on Wednesday Wellness. But I told my niece last night, I was like, wait up for me because I'm gonna come back in the room and watch TV with you. And we like to cuddle before she goes to sleep. We cuddle. That baby girl, I don't know. She does not like to be like in a room by herself, even if it's for like 5 minutes. Which I get it, because sometimes as kids we are like that, but with her it just feels like it's a bit more. And I don't know, maybe she's just timid. But anyways, I told her, I was like, Nana is gonna be right across the hall, talking to somebody. So if you need me, come get me. But stay here, watch the show or whatever, and tell me what your favorite part is when I come back. And so when I got done, the Holy Spirit was like, or God was like, you need to go and be with your niece. Like, you're not going to have her that much longer. Go give her some time. So I was just thinking about how much I loved her and how I did really want to spend some time with her, and watch TV with her. And so when I came in the room, I was like, well, Pooh, you didn't believe I was coming back, did you? She was like, yeah, I did. I knew you were going to come back. And she remembered, she told me her favorite part of the show we were watching. And she was like, I knew you come back. And it was like the Lord whispered to me, see, like, she thinks good things about you. And thinking that she thinks good things about me led me to even further believe that the Lord says good things about you to other people. And I don't know why, but to just know that that is a thing, it just makes me happy because the confirmation of it, the clarity of it, I don't think I've ever had much more of a, like, a clear definite answer of a question I've pondered to God or, to myself answered than how it was answered through my niece. So I was really happy, especially because I felt like, truly while God was talking to me, he was talking to her, and it's so amazing to think like everybody, or it is just said even in scripture that, the Lord can be with everybody at once. And so to see it happen, it is just incredible. Like it is unexplainable. It is a joy that is like beyond this world because you know that there is somebody fighting for you and there is somebody who has your back, even when he has to humble you a bit. And let me clarify. Last week I said that the Lord reminded me that I look like a Teletubby. Okay, that was probably me. The Lord does not tell you like you fat. He does not do that. His rebuke is always gentle, and it's not. Well, sometimes he will, but his chastisement, there we go, is gentle. He does not like come down on his children like that. And when I said it, I was like, I wish I would have clarified that that was a joke. He did not tell me I was a Teletubby. I said that I was a Teletubby because my flesh be wild and they're trying to tell me off. So, anyways, I want to challenge you and open your mind and cause you to think like, is everything in the world really as black and white as we try to make it seem? Because the more I've lived this life, the more I've tried to, mature in my thinking, the more I've realized I don't think everything is simply just black or white, because then you don't have room for like reasons or circumstances, because circumstances do change and sometimes things just happen that we cannot control. So I don't always feel like everything is purely just black or white. Like if you tell somebody you were gonna be, I don't know, at their birthday party at like 10:40, and you were really trying to make up something to them and you end up getting at their birthday at like 11:30 because, unbelievably enough, there was like a fire that broke out next to your car, and like when you got in and drove off, there was another wreck at the street. Like there are things that can happen in this life that we cannot predict. So the person who didn't believe you and just thought that you were being late again, like they didn't see it though through your story. Like you are telling them the truth of what happened, and to them you just didn't show up. Okay, but that's not true. Like I had reasons for why I was not here. So for instance, I'm gonna just go ahead and share this. This actually happened to me in one farm, but it wasn't that bad. So last year, it's been close to a year now, almost a year. But an ex friend and me, we went to go see Card in Dallas, and the plan was for me to. So I had like quit work, or yeah, I had resigned from work because of Korea and everything. So I was just gonna take that day to go spend time with her, and like all that jazz. So it was raining, and I had asked her, I'm like, do you think I should come at 4 or at 6? Because the concert starts at like, I think 6:45 or 7ish or something like that. And she's like, or maybe it started at 7:30. Yeah, because it takes me like an hour to get there. And she's like, well, just come at 6 because I still have to get off work and come home and da 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 da. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get in my car at like 4:15 ish, or like maybe not 4:15 ish, maybe like 4:35. I want to say I get in my car and I'm driving to her because it is starting to rain. And I'm like, it is raining cats and dogs. Like, if I don't get a move on it, there's no way I'm going to be there at time. And maybe it kind of was like for a little, yeah, I want to say like 4:30. I'm sorry. But so GPS for whatever reason took me to downtown Dallas. And then when I realized it was taking me to a toll road and it was taking me like all out the way, I'm like, okay, I need to re-put her address in. So I put the address in and it takes me to this neighborhood. It is not her house. So now, I'm getting a little anxious because I'm about to be late. Like as soon as I get there to her, we're gonna be pushing for time. And so I tell her, I updated her about it, and I get there to her. And we get in the car, we're going to the concert, and I'm trying to make small talk. She's like, not gonna lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. And she was giving me grief about it. And then after she was like rushing and freaking out about getting there and getting a spot, then she tried to talk to me as if she didn't just make me feel bad for being late. It was raining. It was pouring down rain when I left home. And I hydroplaned in the rain like 2 years ago, which she knew because I was leaving her house when I was going back home. And so, I've always been open about the fact that driving in rain kind of still freaks me out. Like I'm still trying to get that together. And so, driving on these open four roads to get to her, like that was still a new incident for me. And I'm just doing my best to get there, baby girl, and make it happen. But I couldn't control that my GPS, like, I've gone to her place so much. Of course, I wouldn't think my GPS would just trip and take me to another neighborhood. Like, I have her stuff saved. Her house is like a second home. Like, I have it saved. I know how to go to get there once I find specific roads that I know. And so it was a thing, but in her mind it was just black and white. I was late, and she was like, "Well, I know that things happen, but you grill me like those things don't happen. You can't get onto me and like shut me down and be like, "Well, I know it wasn't really your fault, but you just made it my fault." When we got to the venue, she was instructing me to like uh put in the little parking number so that we can pay for a ticket on her phone. Well, okay, we both got a phone. Why can't you help me do it with your phone while I try to do it on my phone? So that is just one example of everything is not black and white. And honestly, because of that experience, I didn't even really enjoy card that much. I can get onto that in a Pox perspective. So if you want to hear more about that, go to a Pox perspective. We'll talk about it there because this is getting lengthy. So back to cover up in the Bible stories about things. So cover up. I've been saying cover up or cover yourself, keep it covered, all of that. Cover up. But basically, cover up is about not giving so much of yourself away to people without vetting them first. And what I mean by that is I am an oversharer, okay? If I have a friend or if I meet somebody and we seem to form a bond within like a week or so or even a month, I'm like, dang, that's a friend right there. Like now I can share things with you and daydream and stuff because I've always just wanted friends growing up. I've always wanted friends. I've always wanted people to like think I was cool. And I think that comes from being bullied in high school. I was told I was the black girl that wanted to be white. I thought I was better than everybody because I wanted to pay attention and not get like punishment when I got home. It was so much surrounding me. I didn't really have friends in high school. Everybody had a personal agenda against me. Everybody. I can't really say there was one person from my school that was my friend. And even now, years later, when I've tried to reconnect with anybody from my school, it just crashes and burns. So, Sugar Cookie, the one I'm always talking about, she is truly my first example of a best friend in college because I never had a true friend before then, which is just wild. But so I've always wanted to have friends, and I feel like I had guy friends in high school, but I've learned now that I look back over my life that they had hidden agendas too, okay? So that was something I always wanted. I wanted a boyfriend and I wanted friends. And so when I have met people in these past 2 years of my life, if we seem to vibe within that first month, I'm like, wicked. Now I can let you in on my heart. That has been wrong almost every time because within the past 3 to 4 years, I have met, I can say at least 20 people, and none of them are still talking to me. The only person who is still rocking strong with me without any judgment, any resentment, is my best friend Sugar Cookie. And so I know that it is a treasure to have her. But I say all that to say, not everybody cares about your dreams. Not everybody is excited for you. They will say that they're excited for you, and really in their mind, they're tearing you down, they're kicking you down, they're thinking of ways they can snatch it and steal what you wanted to do with your time, effort, and energy. So you really need to be careful when you try to invest your time in people. And I know it is hard because I am a girl who wears rose colored glasses. Like, there could be red all around you, and I'm just sitting there like, it is just a great day in the hood. Like, we vibing. Like, no, they good. Let them through the door. It ain't good. It ain't good at all. But I overshare with people, and it has gotten me hurt a lot of times. And so, cover up was kind of like, I feel it was God telling me, like, maybe you need to watch this. This is a lesson that you've had to bump your head with quite a bit. So maybe we should work on this together. Now, I also feel like I had the revelation when I was dealing with cover up that, a lot of times you can think that, like, you and another person was vibing or y'all was getting it great. It could be that, like, they fooled you into thinking, because I did have that happen to me. She made me believe everything I wanted to believe so she could be my best friend. It was wild. It was wild. But so that was one experience of manipulation. But another thing is too, I feel like we kind of project our feelings onto people if we're not careful. Like, to you, maybe that girl seemed so friendly and so sweet, and like she really cared about you, but to her, she was just trying to get a sale and she was just being nice, but she don't really care about you. Like, you were just a customer and she is just an employee. And I don't know. That kind of feels like a little shade, but that also feels like that fits right there, Lord. But you're not meant to have bonds with everybody that you meet. And I think it is really important that you set boundaries for yourself to know that, like, not everybody is your best friend. Not everybody is a friend. Not everybody is an acquaintance. Like, there is different levels for different people, and you really have to be careful whenever you are dealing with people. So this story made me think about this guy in the Bible named Samson. Now, we're gonna read his a little bit of his story today. I have two chapters I want to read. But so Samson was basically like this mighty warrior that God had raised up from this tribe of Dan. I think his dad's name was Zona, something like. I will put it in because I did not get that. But he was a mighty warrior, and he was wise, he was smart, and he would just go into the Philistines like camps, wrecking shop for, I would say, no reason, but like if they did him wrong, or like, because they were Philistines and like they're the children of Jesus. And so, anywho, Samson is this strong, powerful man. And basically, first of all, he ends up taking a wife from the Philistines who he's always fighting. And his parents are like, "You're kidding me right now." And Samson is like, "No, I'm not. I want this lady." And so he ends up marrying her or whatever. Okay, and yeah, we'll just go to, oh, how do I want to do this? Okay, so after he marries her, a few more things go on, but then he meets this woman Delilah, and that's where we'll spend time too. And like, when the Philistines found out that he was feeling Delilah, he really wasn't even supposed to be messing with her because she was a harlot. But I mean, whatever, Samson. The betrayal I feel, but Samson was victorious in the end. I mean, it's a bittersweet scene, but it's an understandable one for sure. So we're gonna be in the book of Judges. The first chapter is 14. And I Judges 14 verses 1. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to make a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord that he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Then Samson went down, and his father and no, Then Samson went down, and his father and his mother, to Timnath, and came to the vineyards of Timnath, and behold, a young lion roared against him, and the spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid, and he had nothing in his hand, but he told not his father or his mother what he had done. And he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a time he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, there was a swarm of bees and honey in the carcass of the lion. And he took thereof in his hands and went on eating, and came to his father and mother. And he gave them, and they did eat. But he told not them that he had taken the honey out of the carcass of the lion. So his father went down unto the woman, and Samson made there a feast, for so used the young men to do. And it came to pass, when they saw him, that they brought him 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said unto them, I will now put forth a riddle unto you. If ye can certainly declare me within 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 sheets and 30 change of garments. But if ye cannot declare it me, then shall ye give me 30 sheets and 30 changed garments. And they said unto him, Put forth thy riddle, that we may hear it. And he said unto them, Out of the eater came forth meat, out of the strong came forth sweetness, and they could not in 3 days expound the riddle. It's getting juicy, y'all. And it came to pass on the seventh day that they said unto Samson's wife, Entice thy husband, that he may declare unto us the riddle, lest we burn thee in thy father's house with fire. Have ye called us to take that we have? Is it not so? And Samson's wife wept before him and said, Thou dost but hate me, and lovest me not. Thou hast put forth a riddle unto the children of my people, and hast not told it me. And he said to her, Behold, I have not told it to my father nor my mother, and shall I tell it thee? And she wept before him in the 7 days. And she wept before him the 7 days while their feast lasted. And it came to pass on the seventh day he told her, because she lay sore upon him. And she told the riddle to the children of her people. And the men of the city said unto him on the seventh day before the sun went down, What is sweeter than honey, and what is stronger than a lion? And he said unto them, If ye had not plowed with my heifer, ye had not found out my riddle. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon and slew 30 men of them, and took their spoils, and gave change and garments unto them, which expounded the riddle. And his anger was kindled, and he went up to his father's house. But Samson's wife was given to his companion, whom he had used as his friend. So, Samson was a smart man. I want to pause and talk about that first before I go on to the other part. He was strong, he was smart, he was wise. He killed a lion with his bare hands. And then he didn't even break a sweat. He wasn't bloody or nothing. Like, his parents never even knew. Do you know how skilled you have to be? And I mean, even then, it was the Holy Spirit, or yeah, the Spirit of the Lord that came upon him. So it's like, excuse me, he took out a whole lion, like Samson. And so he saw this woman, and he was like, I want to be with her. And his parents are like, why do you want to be with her? But the Lord was like, he's gonna be with her. And so yeah, Samson goes and he talks to this lady, and courts her. And then when he comes back to get her, he sees that there is honey in this lion, and time has passed. There's honey in this lion, and there's bees around it. And so he proposed that riddle to the people. Now, the people couldn't figure it out. And so his wife, they threatened her and was like, if you don't get this man to tell us what we want to hear, we're going to kill you and burn your father up, because how dare you disrespect the Philistines like that. So baby girl is freaking out, as she should be, but I don't think she should have betrayed him, but she did. She went and, cried and made a scene, and Samson was so tired of hearing it that he was like, look, this is the answer, okay? And that got him beat up. So now we're going to go to Judges 16. Then went Samson to Giza, and saw there an harlot, and went in unto her. And it was told to the Gazites, saying, Samson is come hither. And they compassed him in, and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city in two posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of a hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and said unto her, entice him, and see where in his great strength lieth, and by what means that we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee every one of us 1,100 pieces of silver. And Delilah said to Samson, tell me, I pray thee, wherein thy great strength lieth, and wherewith thou mightest be bound to afflict thee. So it was not Delilah, but the first wife. That was who they threatened to kill and burn. But these people are telling Delilah, we will pay you to betray Samson. And I don't know what it is about people and money, but that seems to be a common theme that we still have not learned, that like money ain't all that, like you don't be out here betraying people. And so basically you can read all of this to like 20, but these are thick brackets. So I'm going to condense it and give you like my cliff notes of it, and you go back and read it for yourself. But basically, Delilah is this beautiful woman. She's very beautiful. And Samson, he is, favorite of her. And so Delilah is like, tell me where your strength is. I gotta know it. Like if you love me like you say you love me, then tell me like what a man gotta do to kill you. Which I don't even know why she would think that it's okay to ask somebody that, like, tell me how to kill you. What? But so Samson was telling her these untrue things. He was lying to her. Like, if you bind me up, I'll be as weak as another man. If you if mm, she bound him with the rope, and just other things. It was other things she did, because they're all mixed in. But 3 times she came in, and yeah, the first time it was 7 green whiffs that were never dried. Then shall I be weak as another man? That's in 7. And then and at 12, Delilah therefore took new ropes, and bound him therewith, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And there were liars in wait abiding in the chamber, and he brake them from his arms like a thread. And so the last time it was, or the third time, he said unto her, if thou weavest 7 locks of my head with the web. And she fastened it with the pin, and said unto him, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awakened out of his sleep, and went away with the pin of the beam and with the web. So Delilah is trying to find out how he is so strong and what is going on with this man. And he is just giving her the runaround. So finally she's crying, and she's whining and complaining and being Delilah. And Samson's like, look, woman, all right, if you shave all of my hair off, then I'm gonna be weak because nobody has ever shaved my hair off, and my hair is my strength. And so Delilah tells them, and it is true, he definitely is weak. So now the Philistines, they have captured him, they took his eyes out, poor baby, and they like stretched him on these pole beams. And so basically they were making a mockery out of him, and they were gonna like torture him to death, I believe. So Samson cried to the Lord and was like, please remember me, please give me strength once more that I may take these Philistines out. And so the Lord came upon him mightily and gave him strength, and Samson tore, like, broke these pillars and like just crumbled this whole establishment, and he died with the Philistines. But I mean, I he took them out, now, verse 27, Judges 16. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. So they're making a mockery out of baby. And he's like, Lord, please just give me strength to take him out one more time. So he took him out. But I wanted to talk about Samson and Delilah because it was a story. It is one of those famous stories that we have been taught to about in church a lot. And it was really always just preached about, like, how, Delilah was this harlot, and the point is Samson was not covered. He uncovered himself for Delilah because she vexed him, because she cried and manipulated and used him, and he did not have the strength to withstand her cries. And I mean, in the end, it worked out and the Lord gave him his strength back. But what would have happened had he just kept his strength and not told her and just not cared about her crying, and it was meant to happen like that, I do believe, because it happened, like it was something that happened. But that got me thinking about, like, my life and how many things I could have avoided, or just where I could be at in life right now if I would have kept myself a little bit more covered. um Delilah, I was thinking about her because she betrayed him over some silver. Like, she making it seem like she really cared for him. She want what's best for him and everything, but silver was her price. Like, that was enough for her to be like, okay, Samson, like, you're lying to me. And it is so crazy to think that people don't care about you that much to not throw you under the bus for mere coins. Like, what did she really gain out of hurting him like that? Like, what did she, why did she not, why did she not just trust him? But I really meant his first wife. Why did she not just, like, why, if Samson was a judge and he was such a warrior and he was so great, why did his wife not go to him and be like, look, they threatened me because you're so strong, and they're saying that they're gonna kill my father. Like, I'm pretty sure she had saw his strength and all that he was capable of. And I know that she had to hear the stories about him because everybody seemed like they were talking about this strong man Samson. So I don't understand why she couldn't just trust him and go to him with her problems. But then it was in me thinking that I also posed the question where I feel like God was like, well, why do you not come to God? If people are threatening you and talking down on you and trying to harm you and say all these things to you to scare you, why do you not go to God? And when you pray about it, why do you not let it go? Why do you keep worrying about it? Why do you keep bringing it back up? Why do you keep making this a thing when it's not a thing? Like, why don't you just trust God? Like, why do you let the enemy play with you like that? Why do you let the enemy threaten you or offer you things that I can provide and give you? Samson was strong. Delilah could have had anything in this world that she wanted. If she just told Samson, he probably would have gave it to her, fought his way through it for her. But They just threw him under the bus. And sometimes we do throw God under the bus ourselves when we are scared or caught up in our flesh and not really understanding him or understanding ourselves and like what we are going through, you know? Okay. So when I was thinking about all of this too, I was thinking about, yeah, when you are getting ready to, and I even had to learn this lesson a hard way too. People can say they love you, but they really don't. I love you to me, it's a sweet word. I say I would wear it out with my mom, with my niece, with my best friend, you know, because I know and I've seen over the years that their love means something. There is not anything I can't ask them that they won't do for me. There's not any advice they won't give to me. And there is not anything that makes me believe that they don't love me because their actions have shown me that they love me. And I feel like that is what determines to me now if a person truly is for me like they say they are. Is not what you say, it is what you do. And I've tried explaining that to somebody before in my life, and they were like, what do you mean it's what I do? Like if I said it, I mean, I'm like, okay, and you can say it and mean it all day long, but if you don't back it up, if you don't prove it to me in how you act, how you carry yourself, how you converse with me, how you treat me, like that does not lead me to believe that you love me. That leads me to believe you are using me and you want something from me. Loving me is not manipulating me to be how you want me to be. Loving me is not you belittling me and downplaying my feelings, my wants, and my dreams. Loving me is you not telling me that I can't do something because the color of my skin or because I'm a female or because I'm a thick woman. Loving me is not you gaslighting me for my feelings and telling me that I'm overthinking or overreacting. Loving me is not telling me to not do something and then you turn around and do that same thing and you call it a different coin. No, it's the same rusty coin that you just took out of my basket. Loving me is helping me along the way. Even when I do hurt your feelings, even when I do something wrong in your eyes, you don't chastise me. You don't put me down. You don't kick me while I'm down. We are working to build a ship together. Any form of ship, friendship, relationship, whatever kind of ship, we are working to build it together. And you cannot tell me that you love me when I'm always under scrutiny with every single thing that I do, because that's not love. We are always growing and changing and evolving, and you have to give people the right to change. You don't get to decide when people can or cannot change. That's not your call to make. It is mine as an individual, because if roles were reversed, I do anything for you and let you be your best self. So I would like that courtesy back in return. And whew, that was a little rant, but that's how I feel. Loving me is being patient, is being kind with me, is saying, you know what, this was a rough season in our life, but we gonna get through it. Like, it is us amending things together, it is us holding each other accountable, it is us holding each other up. And holding me accountable does not mean trash talking me and putting me down. Holding me accountable is being a mature adult and saying, look, this is what happened and this is how it made me feel. Now, you may not have felt it like that or meant it like that, but this is how it made me feel. So then that way I can rebuttal it and be like, well, look, thank you for your candor, but this is not what I meant. I don't know. I feel like using those big words, but yes, I I also want to say, get you people who cover you. You need to be friends with people who's gonna cover you and have your back. I cover all my friends. There, you cannot say nothing to me about my friends and expect me to just go with it or agree with it or just, trash talk them. I will not. They are my friends. They my people. Like, we have established a bond, and I have found, even when you do things like that, it makes you look better as a person because your loyalties are established. Like, you're not being brought into the drama like you're Switzerland. There's nothing. And that's a great characteristic to have. When people ask you, what do you think about so and so? I do not. I have so much to do in my day. I cannot think about X, Y, and Z. Now, Here lately, when I've had to be covered, you know, I've had to be hurt by a lot of things. I feel like I've been through the ringer as far as emotions go these past few months, but it has taught me a lot. It's taught me, one, to cover my mouth. Don't say everything that I want and desire and dream to people. Cover your cover your love interest. Like, when you think about somebody or you start talking to somebody and it's something new and you go tell somebody and they're like, that's not gonna last, or girl, you need to be careful. If you know the difference between genuine concern and just hate and pettiness, cover that. Don't even tell them about them. Okay, you be great with baby child somewhere else. Cover your gaze. Don't googly eyes everybody, because that can be dangerous. Cover the desires of your heart, because exposing them to everybody, letting them fall into the wrong hands of somebody, is not great at all. So be careful. Oh, yes. Be careful who you reveal your slip to, because not everyone will tell you to cover it up. Some will let you be exposed, or will do it themselves to keep their own slips tucked. So when I was talking about slips, I meant like, I don't know if y'all ever had to wear these little dress slips under your dress. I really had to wear them as a kid. When I got an adult, I was like, these will not be a thing. But my grandma made them a thing. So, I've seen a lot of times people, when their slips are showing, people don't tell them. They laugh at them, they make fun of them. And I feel like in our lives, those areas, people will let them slip out. People will expose your secrets, expose what you did in the dark. When you came to them and just vented out of needing to get it off of you and share it with somebody, now they're going and making it like a hot post and a hot blog. And before you know it, the whole town know your business. And it's not right, y'all. It is not right. So I've, as I want to tie this up, I feel like God has been telling me here lately to cover up my thinking and cover up my gaze. I had the harsh realization last week that for the past, I really feel like maybe 5 or 6 years, I've been so hell bent on being in a relationship and being like noticed by anybody, that it's just been scary, because every single day I've had a thought of like being involved with, a guy. And now that I'm saying, I'm like, this sounds very bad. And it's not like multiple guys, but you know how you kind of get like a little crush and like you daydream about them or something like that for a period and then move on. Like, I was caught up in cycles of that. Even when I did call myself like having these online relationships or whatever, it was just a thing, And here lately, I've found myself questioning what love really is, and like how how I would want to be loved and how I would want to have a relationship. And, then I got to realizing that for me, when I've seen my big dreams and seen where I've wanted to go in my life, there's always been a guy there in my corner supporting me. And I don't know why I've always felt like I've needed to have male acceptance. And in part, I think, and I am not going to share this, but a lot of things happened when I was younger, in my family, that I feel like could have triggered that moment. And I am going on a hunch right now, because I don't know if it's 100% true, but it really broke my heart to know that, like, when I daydream, it's never just been about me. Like, I've never just sat down and thought about, like, man, I want to go watch this movie by myself, or like, man, I would really love to go do that by myself. I've always had to be with someone. I've always had to, have somebody around me to have a good time. And I didn't realize how sad that makes me, to believe that I can't have fun by myself. Like, I am this great person inside and out, but here I am always trying to fill my time with men and other people, and mostly men, because I've always wanted a relationship. And I've had to realize the beauty of like being single. I got a whole bed to myself. I have time to do what I want to do with my time. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to spend energy on anybody else. And it's not a bad thing, you know. I just believe when it is my time to experience those things and have it, I will have it. And I truly believe that now that I've had this realization, I can finally work on being single and by myself and realizing that it is okay to be single because there's nothing wrong with you because you are single. Like, I even said that a few weeks ago on the podcast, but now that it's come back full circle, I'm like, this is really what I was talking about. This moment right here. See, and that's why I always tell y'all, I am growing just like y'all are. And I don't ever want to get up here and make it seem like I have all the answers or I know everything. But I just want to be open and vulnerable and tell my thoughts and feelings and, you know, what I've learned in the hope of helping someone else. So, you know, just please make sure that you are so careful with your thinking because your thinking will take you down a rabbit hole. You know, you'll be like, oh, that baby, he pretty. And then before you know it, you're like, ooh, oh, so you know, you just need to really be careful with what you think, and you know, just know that in whatever stage of your life that you are in, God is working it out, and it's gonna be great, you know. And I've even told myself I have a dad in heaven who's with me always, like I'm never alone. And if you even want to go even deeper, I have a dad who gave me a husband who's coming back for his bride. So I mean, I got both. I got a dad and a husband, and they both in heaven watching over me and watching over everybody else that's down here. But yeah, y'all, it's gonna be okay. You are doing great. You're doing amazing. Don't let nobody tell you how to be you. You tell them how you're gonna be you, and you stick with it. And don't give up on yourself. Don't count yourself out because if it doesn't look good, then it's not God's promise, and He's not done with you. And that is something I'm still telling myself, and I am believing wholeheartedly. I really hope this made sense for somebody. My point really through this whole story is when you expose yourself and you uncover yourself to people, it is both a scary experience and it leaves you vulnerable. It leaves you open for like hurt. And while it is scary, if you feel like taking a chance on a person, do it anyways because being guarded and trying to keep yourself from experiencing those things, it's only going to hurt you and only going to have the opposite effect on your life. You can always find the beauty in a hard lesson, in a hurt situation. There is something you can learn out of that, even if it's just simply don't do that again, you know. You will learn something and you will be much better for it on the other side. So, if I can give you 4 bullet points away from this one, it is cover your mouth. You don't have to say everything to everybody, you don't need everybody's approval. Cover your gaze. Don't give googly eyes to everybody, okay? Not everybody needs to see your googly eyes. You keep them eyes for your special husband, okay? You or your special wife. Like, you just don't give them to everybody because a gaze is deadly, and you know people will misunderstand your gazes. People will take advantage of those gazes, and it's safer for you if you watch the way you look at people. Cover your thinking. Don't let everything fall into your mind. Please be so careful with that and cover the desires of your heart. Talk to the Lord about them. I always ask Him to help me deal with the affairs of my heart, but the desires of your heart, take them to God. Whatever you feel like you want to tell a person, go and tell God first, and then be like, Lord, should I, or what do I do with this? And He will guide you, and He will make it better. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, for listening to me and rocking it out. Please, if you have not read the story of Samson, go read it in Judges. It is such a great story. And Samson was such a strong, incredible, bold man. And I would like to think from Samson that my hair gives me strength too, because why not Samson? But he was a king in his own right. He was just uncovered for the wrong woman, well, I guess the right woman and the right occasion, because the Lord was still glorified in it. So please remember always that the Lord does bless you. The Lord loves you. May He keep you. I hope that you have an incredible day wherever you are, or an amazing night. And I love you as well. Goodbye, guys.